I came across this story, and I was struck by the weight of what it asks someone to carry. Let me share it with you, because this is the kind of narrative that reveals how quickly loyalty can become a burden. The story begins with a friendship that lasted over a decade. 10 years of history between two women who'd built their lives alongside each other. The narrator, we'll call her the friend, had introduced Kiana to Mason 3 years earlier. And what started as a simple introduction became something more. They connected instantly. The relationship progressed the way relationships do when they seem right. A condo purchased together, a dog adopted just weeks before this story unfolds. From the outside, it looked like the kind of partnership people build futures on. On a Saturday night, the friend and Kiana went dancing. A group outing with colleagues from work. Everyone was drinking, the atmosphere loose and easy. Kiana excused herself to use the bathroom. The friend went to the bar for drinks. 10 minutes passed. Notice how the tension shifts here. One of the colleagues asked a simple question. "Where's Kiana?" The friend scanned the room and found her talking to a man she didn't recognize. Now, Kiana had a pattern when she drank, she became flirtatious. The friend knew this about her, but as she started walking toward them, she watched Kiana lean closer to this stranger and kiss him. This is the moment where perception changes. What had been a casual night out transformed into something else entirely. The friend stood there in shock before moving toward them. She pulled Kiana aside and asked what she was doing. Kiana's response was immediate and defensive. It was nothing, just heat of the moment. "Please don't tell Mason." The friend told her this was a terrible position to put her in. Kiana said she needed to use the bathroom, then asked if they could leave right after. The friend agreed and went to say goodbye to the other colleagues. And then the narrative shifts to something worse. The friend noticed Kiana wasn't in the bathroom line anymore. She spotted her on the other side of the bar, with the same man. They were leaving together. The friend started moving toward them, but by the time she got outside, Kiana was already getting into a cab with this stranger. She called Kiana's phone. No answer. She called again. Nothing. She left texts and voicemails, her priority shifting from anger to concern. She needed to know Kiana was safe before anything else could be addressed. 5 hours later, at 5 in the morning, Kiana finally responded. A text that read, "I'm safe, I need to talk to you." The friend woke up around 9, saw the message, and told Kiana to come to her apartment. Kiana arrived within half an hour. She asked to borrow clean clothes, and then she started crying. What unfolds next reveals the full scope of what happened. Kiana admitted she'd slept with the stranger. She said she instantly regretted it. She explained that she'd missed the feeling of other men being attracted to her, so she gave into the temptation. The friend told her what needed to happen next. Even though it would be difficult, Kiana had to tell Mason. Kiana said she would. She thanked the friend for not judging her too harshly. The friend clarified her position. What Kiana did was wrong, and it was unfair to force her to choose sides. But Mason was also her friend. Most importantly, he was Kiana's boyfriend, and he deserved the truth. Several days passed without any communication from Kiana. Then, yesterday evening, the friend received a text. 4 words that changed everything. "Mason proposed. I said yes." The friend sat and stared at those words. Then her phone rang. Kiana was calling, her voice filled with excitement, giving details about the proposal. The friend asked the question that mattered most. "Did you tell Mason what happened last weekend?" Kiana's answer was direct. She said she didn't tell him. She couldn't tell him now. It would ruin their engagement. Then she said her mom was calling and hung up. That was yesterday evening. Since then, Kiana has been posting photos of her engagement ring all over social media. The friend hasn't heard from her, but she's watching this unfold in real time, the celebration of a commitment built on a secret. This is where the story sits with us. The friend describes loving Kiana deeply. 10 years of friendship isn't something easily dismissed, but she also describes being angry. Angry that Kiana cheated on Mason, who she describes as literally the kindest, sweetest man. Angry that Kiana hid it from him. Angry that she accepted a proposal while carrying this secret. The friend recognizes something beneath the surface. She senses that Kiana is insecure, that the cheating wasn't really about attraction to a stranger at a bar. It was about seeking validation from someone other than the person who'd already chosen her. And now the friend is left holding the weight of this knowledge. She describes the position as awkward, but it's more than awkward, it's impossible. Notice the architecture of this situation. The friend has become the keeper of information that will shape someone else's entire future. Mason is moving forward into an engagement, unaware that the foundation includes something he hasn't consented to accept. Kiana is moving forward, having decided that silence is the same as resolution. And the friend is trapped between two people she cares about, knowing that any choice she makes will break something. The beauty and the tragedy of this narrative is how it honors the complexity of loyalty. Because this isn't a story about a clear villain and a clear victim. It's about how people we love can ask us to carry things that damage us. How the right thing and the kind thing sometimes split in opposite directions. How a single night can create a weight that someone else has to hold indefinitely. Stories like this remind us why we tell them in the first place, because they honor the reality of impossible positions. The friend didn't create this situation, but she's the one who has to live inside it, knowing what Mason doesn't know, watching Kiana build a life on a secret, and understanding that whatever she does next will cost her something. That's the story. If you've ever been the one holding someone else's truth, or if you've watched loyalty become a burden instead of a bond, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. And if this story resonated with you, subscribe, because we explore narratives like this every week. Stories that don't offer easy answers, but ask us to sit with the questions anyway. Title suggestions primary. She cheated the night before his proposal, and only I know the truth alt 1. My best friend accepted his ring while hiding what she did last weekend alt 2. He proposed not knowing she cheated days before, and she told me not to tell alt 3. She made me choose between her secret and his right to know.